Hey guys, just wanted to do my reviews. It's going to be a bit of compounded review of both Supergirl and The Flash. Supergirl, I'm going to be doing season 3, episode 18. Shelter from the Storm. The Flash. I'm going to be doing that's season 4, episode 22. Their penultimate episode for season 4 for the season. Think fast. I'm gonna do Supergirl first. I'll put a timestamp in the. I'll pin it in the comments, and you can, jump back, watch in whichever order you would like. So first off, for Supergirl, yeah, I think this is basically what they're trying. Basically, Rain now has the powers of both pestilence and purity. So they're trying. So because Rain attacks Lena and James in the former's apartment, they looking for Ruby. Lena goes to the super early DEO, talking to, warning them about what Rain's trying to kill Ruby. They're asking, and Alex is insisting that she let them know like where Ruby's being hidden, and it turns out that she's being hidden in Lex's mansion, which is it's off the grid, like in the middle of nowhere. Even has like a force field around it. It's like this huge ass mansion. Well, not a force field, but it has like an invisibility. It's like invisibility cloak, and you have to have put in a code to get in, and it's like several wings in it, and that's where Ruby's been hiding out. And I think Alex makes the kind of really stupid mistake of just not. I feel like the first opportunity Ruby asks Alex, if everything's going, what's happening with her mom? Is she okay? Is she getting infected by pestilence? She could have easily said yes, and that's probably would have decreased the chances that Ruby was going to keep asking questions about her mom's status. But she just decided to keep denying everything's fine, which is what basically just led to Rain just finding out where they are via super hearing and trying, because Ruby tried to call their house phone, and I guess during the whole final battle, it's why she saw her mom without her mask off in her Rain costume, and just horrified of what's going on, and still just having to process it, and is kind of traumatized that her mom tried to kill her, or at least her alter ego. You have the other subplot is even we still have Martian Manhunter's dad still Miran Mirren still struggling with his dementia, but they Supergirl and John are talking about, okay, they can't appeal to her. They can't really appeal to her human side, so it's how do they appeal to, I guess now they're trying to understand what her motivations, what makes her tick, and maybe reason with her, as Rain. And I think the thing that always kind of disturbed me is that they thought it's how they're, Johnson said that there was a white Martian that was able to be reasoned with, to try to appeal, and the only thing talking with, Miran, Mirren, that trying to appeal, that in his one of his demented states, talking to a white Martian and appealing to his ethical code is what was able to get him to, I guess, stand out, or at least not or prevent Mirren, or I'm just saying this John's dad, so I stop butchering it, from giving away any kind of information when he was in captivity. But the thing is that the way they went about it is that it's John morphed into a white Martian and tricked his dad into basically giving up the, reliving that whole moment, just to get an idea of how they can appeal to Rain. And just as and, I just felt like this very, so I felt like very like shady and very manipulative, and it hit close to home. And coming from somebody who had a late relative who has suffered with dementia, it just seemed like kind of very manipulative. And they try to, pass the whole scene off as like, kind of like, sweet, like he did a good thing, or just kind of like a more lighthearted thing where it just felt very fucked up. Then you have, um, and then you have like this whole like confrontation between Supergirl and Lena because of the fact that over the, you know, James tries to convince Lena to tell Supergirl, be honest about having more kryptonite and bringing it to the DEO. Supergirl, she just gets like really just pissed off about the whole the whole thing, and but the thing is that she really does have a um. I just felt like found myself really siding with Lena about the whole. The thing is, Supergirl's acting as if people are like handing out kryptonite as if like it's candy or something. But I think it's kind of like safe to assume that it's only like white collar criminals or supervillains that have access to kryptonite. It's not like people have like easier access to guns than kryptonite, as I feel like it is implied in this universe. And even Lena points out is, and even though Supergirl goes on this whole rant of like, it's like that when you walk into a room and have something that makes you feel like your skin's burning, or you have like nails like digging into your bone, and it's not like the whole building in the DEO is like surrounded is like embedded with kryptonite. And that she's like, and Lena points out it's like humans are far more vulnerable to other stuff. It's like people get killed by, if people are vulnerable to getting killed by cars, we still have they still have the courage to get into them any day. They're still vulnerable to guns, but people still use it to protect themselves. And it's like and they're vulnerable to fire. It doesn't mean we stop using it. And talking about how much more vulnerable, fragile humans are compared to a Kryptonian. It's like she's only invulnerable to, like Supergirl completely invulnerable sayings to obviously like one substance. And even though I was left like disgusted with the character, it did I did appreciate that the writers were doing, in the sense that it kind of makes you realize a fatal flaw that she has. And also like super and is like like her how she can be kind of, I guess, a little bit hot headed, and also like kind of stubborn, and also just kind of feels like a little sanctimonious. It's almost like a flaw that's been highlighted in like other Superman stories throughout, like video games, comic books, TV shows, in which is like whenever you have a storyline where it's like she loses Lois or turns evil, all of a sudden it becomes like totalitarian and like sanctimonious, and deciding like he automatically knows what best, and he gets to decide how humanity can defend itself and how things should be. And it's like it's nice that they kind of highlighted that she has like a similar flaw without having to go through such an extreme storyline. But in the end, it just feels like Lena was right in the end, because they get to Ruby's house. Supergirl and Mon-El, who decides, instead of going back to the future with the Legion, decides to stay behind because Brainiac 5 says how Supergirl's chance of defeating Reign without the Legion is 51%. If at least one Legionnaire stays behind, it's like 88%. So of course Mon-El's going to stay behind, love interest, and he's the one who's able to use Lena's kryptonite and put it into a Gatling gun in order to help subdue Reign. And so it just kind of felt like she was right in the end. They were able to put her back in that same force field like hospital bed and what that Lena kept her in originally. And Supergirl apologized for being so harsh with Lena, but apparently Lena was still holding a grudge after talking to Kara in her civilian form. That that she still harbors a grudge for Supergirl going behind her back and asking James, her own boyfriend, to like basically investigate her and break into her lab. And she says like that's emotionally manipulative. Only my that's something like my mother would do. And he says like don't meet your heroes, and I can never trust her ever again. And Lena kind of gives Kara this look like she knows that she's Supergirl, and Supergirl like naturally when they're supposed to have like getting takeout is kind of just a little bit settled by how much she's basically just let her relationship with Lena go to crap for her actions. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how they're gonna deal with Rain at this point. I mean, I think they may have had like what is it like 4 more episodes? What is it? Maybe like 4 more episodes left after this, 4 or 5. So of course I'm doubting she's gonna stay like in prison for long. So next week's gonna seem to be a more like Guardian centric episode, and there was supposed to be it was like a cliffhanger where I don't know if or when it happened on screen, maybe it happened off screen where it had Koval, Shadowlow's character, apparently was dead, and somebody from his cult like stealing a book about Kryptonian history and religion, and like his other followers like chasing after this woman to get out of the building. So it seems Guardian centric, yet connected to Reign. So we'll see like how much filler episode it's supposed to be. But Flash, I'll say this. For the penultimate episode, substantially better than last week, which just felt like just pointless filler, and I thought it was kind of stupid. I mean, I guess I know they wanted to get Katie Sackhoff on the show, but the fact that it's like they're trying to redeem her and appeal to her humanity, and all they gave her was some kind of spiked metal object, which I didn't think it was going to, it's like, oh, why are we stopping the momentum of the season? Why is the last third of the season coming to like a screeching halt? Well, it's in this home stretch just to stop for something that's probably not going to go anywhere, and in the end it didn't go anywhere because Barry presumably used it to destroy one of DeVoe's satellites, and yet he still broke into Star Labs, reprogrammed Gideon, and used his nuclear energy chamber that he shrunk to take over a Star Lab satellite to replace the one that was destroyed and start his enlightenment. But it was great to see I was surprised to get to see like a cameo from David Ramsey, both in the beginning of the episode, where you can tell that DeVoe was disguised himself as Diggle when he broke into Argus, and we got to see like probably the best display of his powers and probably one of the more like action-packed openings this show's had all season, of him like just mowing down like all the Argus guards just to get to Fallout's chamber, and essentially killing him just by channeling his powers and manipulating the machine, using Kilgore's powers to process his nuclear energy and then shrink it to use the chamber as like a power source for his satellites. And then you had a subplot of Cisco and Caitlin having to convince Barry to train them to go into Flash time, because there was something where I guess they were like, he had Argus agents over that 6 surviving Argus agents over like electrical grids, hovering over them because of DeVoe's gravity powers, and they were trying to say like, oh, bring them into Flash time so DeVoe won't they won't be dropped onto them and electrocuted. So they were hard time struggling with it. Barry was reluctant to do it because he felt like by training, he was still hasn't gotten over Ralph's death, and he felt like by training them and pushing them that he feels like they're going to follow the same fate. But Cisco convinced Barry that it's not his choice to make whether they how and how much how they put their life how and when they put their lives on the line. They should have a say in that. So they're able to be successful in like breaking in. Um, Cisco's able to use like his breaching abilities to open his powers to open up little breaches among all the electrical grids, and Caitlin I guess just uses like a cold gun, I guess to form like icicles beneath them. I don't exactly know the why she that it just seems kind of redundant. It just feels like they need to give her something to do. But I mean, DeVoe escaped, but like I said, DeVoe like escapes, and Barry was able to destroy that satellite. But it was kind of moot when um, DeVoe took over the satellites. I mean, we got like some like also subplot with like Cecile, like her telepathy. The baby being due is like her telepathy has gotten to the point where now it's like she's channeling other people's like personalities, and one point she thinks she's a pizza delivery guy who kind of acts like Keanu Reeves from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then next she thinks she's Joe, or next she thinks she's Caitlin Snow. Like I mean I like the character and the actress, but it's like I never gave a damn about the pregnancy storyline, and it's like the whole like thing about telepathy being used to play up for like gags and comedy just makes it feel even even more forced. And then we have the other subplot where Harry, because even though he's losing his intelligence, she's able to help Iris, instead of just using like Starlab satellites. And this is something I feel like she should have. I mean, she's starting to do, and like Harry's like pushing her to do is like just do more on her own, just like relying on like instincts to figure out where Marlisa's hiding, even though she's reluctant at first to do so. Harry convinces her that that's something they need to do, and they realize that where's the place that she would go where she would feel safe, and they decide to go to her and Clifford's old apartment in England, and they get an extra extrapolator that Cisco gave to Supergirl from Supergirl. They had like an extra one lying around, so they're able to get to England while the original the I guess like Barry, Cisco, and Caitlin are dealing with the Argus fiasco, and they're basically able to convince Marlies to help them, especially when she sees like how much the dark matter is affecting Harry's brain. And the thing about this is that the thing about him like getting dumber, I don't know how I like the idea of him like getting dumber is like kind of played for laughs. I thought maybe it should have been played more about him like, I don't know, more like dementia handled with a little bit more, and not just for like a side gag. But I appreciate that Tom Cavanaugh, as a testament to like his versatile acting, that he was able to bring mannerisms and nuances to dumb Harry and not make it feel too much like, and not make it feel like anything like, say, HR. Just he's still being able to, kind of being like a doofus, but almost kind of being just like, it's almost like his brain is like actually, just being like burnt, confused, and just like burnt out or something. Like, it is like just like on not like just so that's something I liked. So that was like one of the so that was like one of the cool things about it. They're still like still reminding us that Iris's journalism has completely fallen by the wayside, and I know like her being a team leader, as people were saying, like it's not forced. It was forced. Like she doesn't have the qualifications. Blah blah blah. It's like if she's just quarterbacking. She's spent enough time in Star Labs to kind of know what's going on. Cisco could have probably taught her like how to use like say like satellite tracking and stuff like that. in between seasons, just so he can be out in the field more. In but it's like that's like saying that she has to be has to be a scientist to be qualified to lead the team is like saying like guy with a PhD in engineering is supposed to be is I'm not going to be good at teaching engineering. And just for somebody who's a former engineering college student, I can say that is not necessarily the case, because half the professors I had were not very good at teaching. So, and also it wasn't like a preferable storyline, but I just knew it's just something I just kind of had to learn to make peace with at some point. Especially granted, I did not expect that it would last more than a season. That hopefully she'll get back more into like journalism by season 5. But anyway, we both had some pretty solid episodes so far. Makes me all the more excited for how season 6 is going to wrap up for Arrow, and it seems to be on a good the DC show seems to be on a good streak this week. But anyway, guys, which episode do you like more? What do you like about the episodes? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.